Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be creating some see-through, almost x-ray-like flowers using a layering method. So let's jump right in. Okay, so to start, I'm just going to go through my materials. I have my Arches cold pressed watercolor paper, my Winsor Newton professional watercolors in my palette. I have my Princeton snap brushes in a size 6 and a size 12, and we're ready to go. Okay, so today we're going to be doing layered flowers that kind of look like they're x-rayed flowers. And it's going to be easy and fun, but it will take a little bit of patience for the drying time. I'm going to be using my heat tool to speed up the drying process. If you don't have this, I've seen people use hair dryers on a very low setting, so that might work. But you can get these on Amazon, anywhere really, a craft store. Just look up heat tools and they're around like 20 bucks. So look them up if you're interested. I'm going to be using mine and let's just start. Okay, so we're going to start with, I think, let's do the small paper first. We are going to use a very neutral color. I kind of want this to look like an x-ray. You can use any color, but I would just want to try and use my Payne's Gray because I think it will look pretty cool. So I'm going to take my Payne's Gray, put it in my palette, and I'm going to use a very light wash of it. So I'm just dipping my paintbrush in my water to make a very light wash. And I'm going to do one petal is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so just doing a petal shape here. Like that. You want a nice light wash. And for these, you want a crisp edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely wash off my brush. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this dark Payne's Gray and I'm just going to go right around the edge. Try not to lift off your paintbrush. It's okay if you do. We're going to clean it up. But we want a nice crisp edge. So some of the edges are really thin. We want them as thin as we can. So I'm going to wash off my brush, dry it, and then I'm just going to try and push the color right to that edge. I'm also kind of picking up any watery color. So it's really light in the middle. Okay, you can even get a little bit more, fill in any kind of edges. Now the thing is, when you lift up your brush, so I'll show you right here, you lift up your brush, you get a little bit of a bloom there. So when that happens, you're gonna get kind of like some spots. So just to fix that, I wash off my brush, dry it, and just kind of push that color to the edge. And I keep kind of drying it on my paper towel like that. Okay, so there's one petal. Now we're gonna do another one that's not touching this current petal. So let's do a side one that's kind of coming out to the side here. Okay, so you're gonna see a little bit of a side view of this one. So it's a little thinner, like that. I'm gonna grab a bit more darker paint. And again, we're going right around the edge. Try and use as least amount of paint as you can. So see here, I got a lot more of those blooms. Washing off my brush, drying it, and we're gonna push that color, and I keep drying my paintbrush right to the side. So we're kind of mopping it up. Oops. I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Really trying to push that color right to the edge. Like that. Okay, let's do another one. Again, a light wash. Petal coming this way. Like that. A little bit of paint, the tiniest amount of paint that you can. That one actually worked a little bit better. I'm gonna wash off my brush, dry it, and again, just making sure it's staying right at that edge. Pushing that color like that. Okay, so now we're gonna let this dry and then we will do some overlapping petals. Okay, so our petals are dry. Now we're gonna start overlapping them and layering them. And this is what it's gonna make it look like it's a see-through flower. So again, we're getting a light wash and we're gonna just start overlapping these petals. Now, if you have cheaper, lower quality paints, when you go over ones that are dry, like petals that are dry, it might take a little bit of that color from the color underneath. I've just learned that with quality and even with some paper, it does that. It will pick up the color from underneath. So just try your best, but that may happen. Okay, just taking a little bit darker paint, going around the edge. Like that, washing it off, drying your brush, and push that color. Like that, okay? Let's do another one. Over here, I'm gonna try not to touch this one. Like that. Just pushing that color. Okay, there we go. Now we can't really do any other petals that aren't touching, that won't be touching the wet ones. So we're gonna wait for this to dry. Okay, now that those petals are dry, I'm gonna do one kind of overlapping those center ones, and then maybe two to the sides again. So just doing the same steps. This one's gonna come up like that. There's a lot of blooms in that one. So let's try and push that color back. Mop it up. Like that. And then I'm gonna wait for that center one to dry and do two more, and then we'll be done those petals. Okay, again. And I'm making them shorter on this side because of the perspective of the flower. So just keep that in mind too. That was a lot. Like that. My hand's a little shaky today, but that happens. Okay, and then one more on the side. There we go. And if you wanted to add more petals falling or something like that, you definitely could do that too. Okay, so let's let this dry and then we will come right back. Okay, so now all of our petals are dry. We are going to do a little bit of detail. So the stamen that's kind of in the center of the flower is actually going to be darker because all the petals are see-through. They're a lot thinner. So we're going to take our smaller brush and we're going to decide on what the stamen of the flower is going to look like. And we're just going to do it with darker paint. So the part that kind of holds all the petals together, you can paint like this, coming down. And then maybe just some little lines like that, depending on what flower you're doing too. So just keep that in mind. And you can even go right into the stem like that. And then you can do it like based off of a real flower or whatever you want to do. I think I'm gonna do some little parts for the stamen like this. Just little lines and then dots. Don't really know what flower this is, but just having fun with it, like that. Okay, and there is your X-ray flower. So actually, one more thing that you can do just to add a bit more detail, just take a very, very light wash, and on some of those petals, do some lines coming down. Like there's some veins in these petals. Okay, it just gives a little bit of texture so the petals don't look so flat. Okay, and just curve them to the shape of the petals. Just using the tip of your brush and very, very light pressure. You can even have some coming up from the bottom of the flower too. Like that, and that just adds a little bit of something extra to it. Like that. And there is your X-ray see-through flower. So now that you've learned how to do the basics of these see-through flowers, change up the color, types of petals, types of flowers, and just have fun with it. Thank you all so much for watching my video. I really hope you liked it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram and Facebook for even more. Have a great day, guys. Bye.